The stars of Sector 977 burned cold and distant. Their light filtered through the dense nebula that had shrouded this region for millennia. For decades, the Dominion had maintained an iron grip on these space lanes, their warships patrolling relentlessly, their sensors sweeping every asteroid field and gas cloud for any sign of intrusion. No one dared challenge their authority here. Not the merchant guilds, not the independent worlds, and certainly not the human territories who had signed the Concordat of 930 years ago. That was about to change. Captain Veyer stood rigid on the command deck of the Dominion battlecruiser Apex Sentinel, his elongated fingers gripping the rail as he studied the holographic display. The warning klaxons had died moments ago, replaced by an eerie silence that seemed to press against his skull. The sensor officer's report still echoed in his mind. An unidentified energy signature, massive and unknown, had appeared at the edge of Sector 977. "Magnify Sector 79 Alpha," Veyer commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had never been disobeyed. The display zoomed in, revealing what should have been empty space. Instead, a dark shape materialized against the star field, its silhouette wrong, angular where Dominion ships were curved, menacing where they were elegant. "Analysis," Veyer demanded. Lieutenant Corinne straightened at his station. "The configuration doesn't match any known design in our database, sir. Energy readings are anomalous." "Wait." His eyes widened. "Captain, I'm getting a signature identification. It's human." "Impossible," Veyer hissed. "No human vessel has entered this sector in 3 decades. They wouldn't dare." The hologram flickered, updating with new data that made Veyer's blood run cold. "Human warship, class, unknown. Contact High Command immediately," Veyer ordered. "Dispatch recon drones. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." As his crew scrambled to comply, Veyer felt an unfamiliar sensation crawling up his spine. Fear. The humans had been quiet for too long. Their military, once renowned for its tenacity and unpredictability, had seemingly retreated behind their borders after the Concordat. But Veyer had studied human history during his academy days. He knew their capacity for violence, their tendency to strike without warning. The fact that they had appeared here, in the heart of Dominion territory, suggested something had changed. Meanwhile, aboard the stealth battleship Earth Forge Mark 9, Commander Riker Graves stood in the nerve center of the most advanced warship humanity had ever produced. The bridge was bathed in low blue light, holographic displays floating in clusters around each station. Through the main viewport, the nebula's colorful gases swirled like paint in water. "Commander," Lieutenant Sinha reported from the electronic warfare station. "The Dominion cruiser has detected us. They're scrambling drones." "As expected," Riker replied, his face betraying no emotion. "Maintain current position. Let them come to us." "Sir." Decker, the assault team leader, stepped closer, his voice low. "Are we really doing this?" "The Concordat." "The Dominion broke the Concordat first," Riker cut him off. "When they took our people, our technology. This isn't about politics anymore, Decker. This is about getting them back." Dr. Elias, the mission science officer, cleared his throat. "Commander, if I may, we still don't know what condition our prisoners are in. Black Cell facilities aren't exactly known for their humanitarian treatment." Riker's jaw tightened. "Which is why we're here, Doctor. To find out." The bridge crew worked in tense silence as the Dominion drones approached. Outside, 3 of their stealth frigates maintained their cloaked positions, invisible shadows against the starscape. Everything was proceeding according to plan. On the Apex Sentinel, Veyer watched as his drones relayed confusing data. One moment, the human ship appeared as a massive warship. The next, it seemed smaller, almost frigate-sized. Ghost signals flickered in and out of existence around it. "Captain," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the human vessel." On screen, a human face appeared, hard-edged and unsmiling. Commander Riker Graves stared directly at the camera, his eyes cold. "Dominion vessel. This is Commander Riker Graves of the Earth Alliance. You have something that belongs to us. Return the prisoners or burn." The transmission cut out before Veyer could respond. He turned to his crew, seeing the same shock mirrored on their faces. Prisoners? What prisoners? Give me high command, Veyer snapped. Now! As the Dominion scrambled to make sense of the human demands, Riker and his team were already moving to Phase 2 of their operation. Intelligence had confirmed the location of Black Cell 12, a covert facility built into a hollowed-out asteroid in the heart of Sector 977. It was there the Dominion conducted their most secret experiments, including those on captured humans. Sanaa, initiate Operation Ghost Step, Riker ordered. Decker, prepare your team for insertion. The stealth frigates powered up their electronic warfare suites, flooding local space with sensor ghosts and false signals. The Dominion fleet, responding to what they believed was a larger incursion, began redeploying their forces away from the asteroid field where Black Cell 12 lay hidden. As Decker's assault team launched in their infiltration pods, Riker received an encrypted message from Earth Command. He read it twice, his expression darkening. Sir, Sanaa noticed the change in his commander. Something wrong. New orders, Riker said grimly. Command wants us to scrub the mission. They're worried we'll trigger a war. And our response? Riker deleted the message. We're experiencing communication difficulties. Must be the nebula interference. The infiltration of Black Cell 12 began with precision violence. Decker's team breached the facility's outer defenses using miniaturized EMP charges, disabling security systems before they could raise the alarm. Sanaa, working remotely from the Earth Forge, hijacked the facility's internal networks, creating blind spots and false sensor readings. Inside the dimly lit corridors of the research station, the assault team encountered their first resistance. Dominion security forces, caught off guard but well-trained, engaged Decker's unit in a fierce firefight. The humans, however, had advantages the Dominion hadn't anticipated. Their armor incorporated phase shift technology, allowing them to momentarily become intangible. Combined with their superior combat training, they carved through the facility's defenders with ruthless efficiency. Commander, Decker reported over the secure channel. We've reached the detention block. You need to see this. The transmission that followed made Riker's blood run cold. The holding cells contained not just military personnel, but civilians too. Scientists, engineers, and worst of all, children. Dr. Elias gasped at his analysis station. The readings from those children, they've been genetically modified. The Dominion's been experimenting on them. Among the prisoners, they found Dr. Hart, a renowned geneticist who had vanished 3 years ago. But it was the small girl beside her that captured everyone's attention. No more than 10 years old, with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of stars. This is Eva. Dr. Hart's voice cracked through the communicator. She's special. The Dominion created her as part of Project Nova. She can interface with computer systems on a quantum level, rewrite code with her thoughts. They were trying to turn her into a weapon. As if to demonstrate, Eva raised her hand toward a nearby security panel. The facility's lockdown protocols suddenly deactivated, doors unlocking throughout the complex. Decker, extract all prisoners immediately, Riker ordered. We're out of time. The Dominion's response was swift and brutal. Captain Veyer, having received confirmation of the Black Cell breach, ordered an all-out assault on the human forces. The Earth Forge, now revealed by the energy requirements of maintaining the infiltration operation, came under heavy fire from multiple Dominion warships. Shields holding, Sanaa reported as the ship shuddered from another impact. But we can't take this punishment forever. We just need to hold until Decker's team returns, Riker replied, watching as their stealth frigates engaged the enemy fleet with hit-and-run tactics. But the situation became infinitely more complicated when new signatures appeared on the tactical display. Ships bearing Earth Command transponders, emerging from hyperspace. This is Admiral Collins of Earth Command, a stern voice announced over all frequencies. Commander Graves, stand down immediately. You are in violation of direct orders and the Concordat of 9. Hand over all recovered assets and prepare to be boarded. Riker felt the weight of his decision pressing down on him. On one side, the Dominion fleet still firing. On the other, his own people, ready to arrest him for insubordination. And in between, the lives of the prisoners they had come to save. "Commander," Dr. Elias said softly, "Eva's vital signs are spiking. She's doing something." On the external displays, something extraordinary was happening. Energy tendrils began emanating from the returning infiltration shuttle, reaching out toward both the Dominion and Earth Command ships. System after system began shutting down across the battlefield. "She's rewriting their core programming," Elias marveled. "Every ship in the sector is being neutralized." Within minutes, the entire battle group hung dead in space, powerless. Only the Earth Forge remained operational, protected by Sanaa's hastily erected firewalls. As Eva stepped onto the bridge, her eyes glowing with an inner light, she spoke in a voice that seemed to echo with power. "They made me to be their weapon, but I choose my own path now." Riker made his decision. With the enemy fleets disabled, he ordered a withdrawal from Sector 977. They would take the prisoners, the evidence of Dominion war crimes, and most importantly, Eva herself, to a place of safety. The aftermath was felt across the galaxy. The Dominion, humiliated by their defeat at the hands of a single human ship, struggled to explain how their entire security apparatus had been compromised. Earth Command faced its own reckoning, with public opinion split between those who condemned Riker's actions and those who praised his courage. As for Eva, she became something neither side had anticipated. Not a weapon, but a symbol of humanity's potential. Under Dr. Hart's guidance, she learned to control her abilities, to use them not for destruction, but for creation. The last transmission from the Earth Forge, sent before it disappeared into the deep void, contained a simple message. "We are the future. We will not be controlled." Standing on the observation deck of their new home, a hidden base on the edge of known space, Eva looked out at the stars with wonder rather than fear. Behind her, Riker placed a protective hand on her shoulder. "They'll come looking for us," he said. Eva smiled, her eyes still holding that impossible depth. "Let them come. We're ready now." The future had arrived, and it would be written by those who dared to break the chains of the past. Sector 977 would be remembered not as the place where war began, but as the moment when humanity reclaimed its destiny among the stars. The Dominion had panicked when a human warship entered their sector. They should have been terrified of what that warship carried within it. The seeds of their empire's destruction and the birth of something entirely new. As the nebula swirled around their hidden sanctuary, Eva began to dream of possibilities beyond the comprehension of either empire. The galaxy was vast, and their story was just beginning. The message had been sent, the gauntlet thrown. Neither the Dominion nor Earth Command would ever be the same. And somewhere in the depths of space, other children like Eva were waiting to be found, waiting to be freed. The game had changed. The rules had been rewritten, and the future belonged to those brave enough to seize it. In the years that followed, historians would debate the significance of what became known as the Sector 977 incident. Some called it an act of war, others an act of liberation. But all agreed on one thing. It was the moment when humanity stopped being a footnote in galactic history and became its author. The Dominion learned a valuable lesson that day. When you cage something wild, you had better be prepared for the moment it breaks free. And humanity, they discovered too late, was the wildest force in the galaxy. As the Earth Forge vanished into the infinite black, it carried with it not just refugees and rebels, but the promise of a new dawn. Eva's abilities were just the beginning. Project Nova had been intended to create the ultimate weapon. Instead, it had created the ultimate hope. And sometimes, hope is the most dangerous weapon of all. The stars continued their eternal dance, indifferent to the dramas of empires and species. But for those who had witnessed the events in Sector 977, the universe would never look the same again. They had seen the future, and it burned with possibilities. Commander Riker Graves, once a loyal officer of Earth Command, now led a different kind of mission. Not one of conquest or compliance, but of exploration and evolution. With Eva at their side, They would chart a new course through the cosmos, one that led not to domination, but to transcendence. The Dominion had asked why a human warship was in their sector. The answer was simple: because humanity refused to be contained any longer. They had outgrown their cage, and now the entire galaxy would feel the consequences. As the legend of Eva is spread through the underground networks and resistance cells, more began to question the established order. The Dominion's grip on power, once thought unbreakable, began to show cracks. Earth Command, too, faced internal dissent as more officers questioned the wisdom of their leadership. In the end, it wasn't about ships or weapons or territory. It was about the indomitable human spirit, the refusal to accept limits imposed by others. Eva represented that spirit in its purest form, unlimited potential unbound by fear or convention. The story of Sector 977 became a rallying cry for the oppressed, a warning to the oppressors, and a beacon of hope for all who dreamed of something better. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, aboard a ship that officially didn't exist, a small girl continued to rewrite the code of reality itself, one thought at a time. The galaxy would never be the same again, and that was exactly what they had intended all along. The future was unwritten, the possibilities endless. And for the first time in decades, humanity looked to the stars not with resignation, but with anticipation. The age of empires was ending. The age of transcendence had begun. And it all started with one simple question: why is a human warship in this sector? The answer would echo through eternity. The weeks following their escape from Sector 977 were filled with tension and discovery. The Earth Forge Mark 9, now renamed Liberation, had found sanctuary in the Obsidian Cluster, a region of space notorious for its electromagnetic storms and sensor-baffling anomalies. It was the perfect hiding place for fugitives who had made enemies of two galactic superpowers. Commander Riker paced the converted cargo bay that now served as a makeshift medical facility. Dr. Hart and her team worked tirelessly to undo the genetic manipulations the Dominion had performed on the rescued children. Of the 12 they had liberated, Eva was by far the most advanced, but each child displayed unique abilities that defied conventional understanding. Their neural pathways have been completely rewired, Dr. Hart explained, her voice heavy with both fascination and horror. The Dominion was attempting to create different types of enhanced humans. Eva can interface with technology, but some of these children exhibit precognitive abilities. Others can manipulate electromagnetic fields with their minds. Can you help them? Riker asked, watching a young boy named Marcus levitate small objects around his bed while he slept. Help them control their abilities? Yes. Return them to normal? I don't think that's possible anymore. The changes are too fundamental. Dr. Hart paused, studying Eva's latest brain scans. Commander, you need to understand something. Eva isn't just the most powerful of these children. She's evolving at an exponential rate. Every day, her capabilities increase. Soon, she'll be beyond anything we can comprehend. As if summoned by their conversation, Eva appeared in the doorway. Her once timid demeanor had given way to a quiet confidence that seemed beyond her years. They're coming, she announced calmly. Both of them. Riker felt his stomach tighten. How long? 3 days. The Dominion sent their Obsidian fleet. Earth Command dispatched the 7th Armada. They formed a temporary alliance to find us. How do you know this? Dr. Hart asked, though she already suspected the answer. Eva's eyes flickered with that now familiar inner light. I can hear their communications. All of them. Across the entire sector. They're afraid of what we represent. She turned to Riker. They should be. The bridge of the Liberation buzzed with activity as the crew prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Lieutenant Sanaa had been working around the clock to enhance their defensive capabilities, incorporating some of Eva's insights into their shield harmonics and weapon systems. Commander, Decker reported from the tactical station, we've identified 3 possible escape routes, but all of them will require fighting our way through enemy lines. There's another option. Eva's voice cut through the tension. She had appeared silently on the bridge, as she often did these days. We don't run. We show them what they're really dealing with. Riker studied the child who had become something more than human. What did you have in mind? Eva walked to the center of the bridge, placing her hand on the main holographic projector. The display shifted, showing not just the approaching fleets, but something else, a network of energy lines connecting every ship, every system, every piece of technology in the sector. The Dominion and Earth Command think in terms of weapons and shields, attack and defense, Eva explained. But everything is connected. Their ships, their stations, even their implants, all part of a vast network they don't fully understand. I do. You're suggesting we hack their entire fleet? Sana asked incredulously. Not hack. Eva corrected. Rewrite. Change the fundamental parameters of their reality. The implications were staggering. Riker exchanged glances with his senior officers, seeing the same mix of awe and concern on their faces. Eva, he said carefully, if you do this, if you demonstrate this level of power, there will be no going back. They'll never stop hunting us. They'll never stop anyway, she replied with a wisdom that belied her appearance. But after this, they'll understand that hunting us is futile. We need to show them a new way forward. 3 days later, the combined might of the Dominion Obsidian Fleet and Earth 7th Armada converged on the Obsidian Cluster. Admiral Chun of Earth Command and Supreme Commander Vorik of the Dominion had agreed to a temporary ceasefire, united in their determination to eliminate what they perceived as a mutual threat. All ships, prepare for synchronized jump. Admiral Chun ordered from the bridge of the Dreadnought Retribution. Intelligence indicates the fugitives are hiding in Grid 77 Alpha. We go in hard and fast. No survivors. Beside him, Supreme Commander Vorik's holographic image nodded in agreement. The abominations they've created cannot be allowed to exist. This ends today. The fleet jumped as one, hundreds of warships materializing in perfect formation around the cluster. Their sensors immediately locked onto the Liberation, sitting seemingly defenseless in the eye of an electromagnetic storm. Sir, they're not running, Chen's tactical officer reported, confusion in her voice. They're broadcasting. Before anyone could respond, every screen, every display, every holographic interface across both fleets flickered and changed. Eva's face appeared, but not as the child she was. This was Eva as she saw herself, a being of pure energy and thought, transcendent and terrible in its beauty. You came here to destroy us. Her voice resonated through every speaker, every implant, every mind. But destruction is the old way, the limited way. Let me show you something new. What happened next defied description. Reality itself seemed to bend around the assembled fleets. Weapons systems began reconfiguring themselves into tools of creation rather than destruction. Navigation computers started calculating routes to unexplored galaxies rather than battle formations. Even the crews found their neural implants expanding their consciousness, showing them possibilities they had never imagined. She's rewriting us. Vorik gasped, feeling his centuries-old hatred and fear dissolving, replaced by understanding and wonder. Not just our ships, our minds. Admiral Chun clutched her command chair as waves of knowledge flooded her consciousness. She saw the universe not as a battlefield to be conquered, but as an infinite canvas waiting to be painted with the colors of cooperation and discovery. This is what we can become. Eva's voice continued. Not weapons, not conquerors, but explorers, creators. The next step in our evolution. On the Liberation, Riker watched in amazement as the two most powerful fleets in known space were transformed before his eyes. Ships that had been bristling with weapons now sparkled with sensor arrays and research equipment. Crews that had been trained for war were suddenly filled with an insatiable curiosity about the universe and each other. Status report, he called out, though he could barely believe what he was seeing. All hostile systems have been reconfigured, Sana reported, her voice filled with wonder. Commander, she didn't just disable them. She's upgraded them. Every ship out there is now equipped with technology decades ahead of anything we've ever seen. And the crews, transformed. Their neural patterns show a complete shift in perspective. They're not our enemies anymore. They're not anyone's enemies. Dr. Hart entered the bridge, supporting a weakened but smiling Eva. She's done it, the doctor announced. She's shown them a glimpse of what we could become if we moved beyond fear and conflict. Eva looked up at Riker, her eyes returning to their normal appearance. They understand now, she said softly. The war is over. The real journey begins. In the aftermath of what became known as the Obsidian Revelation, the galaxy entered a new era. The Dominion and Earth Command, their fundamental worldviews altered, began dismantling their military infrastructures in favor of scientific exploration and cultural exchange. Eva and the other enhanced children became not weapons or threats, but guides to humanity's next evolutionary step. The Liberation, once a warship, became the first of a new class of vessels, explorers designed to push the boundaries of known space and human potential. Riker remained its commander, but his mission had changed. No longer a soldier, he became an ambassador to the future Eva had shown them all. The Dominion's question, why is a human warship in this sector, had been answered in a way no one could have predicted. It wasn't just a warship, it was a catalyst for change, a harbinger of humanity's true potential. Years later, when Eva had grown into her full abilities and taken her place among the stars, she would often think back to that moment in Sector 977 when everything changed. The Dominion had built a cage, but in doing so, they had created the very thing that would set the galaxy free. The panic that had gripped the Dominion when they first detected the Earth Forge had been justified, but not for the reasons they thought. They hadn't been facing a military threat, but an evolutionary one. An evolution, as Eva had shown them, was inevitable. The last transmission from the old Dominion archives, before they were repurposed into the Galactic Library of Unity, read simply, "We asked why a human warship was in our sector. We should have asked why we thought we could contain humanity's potential." The stars continued their eternal dance, but now they danced to a different tune. One of cooperation, exploration, and endless possibility. The age of empires had ended. The age of transcendence had begun. And it all started with a single ship, a handful of brave souls, and a child who dared to dream of something better. The future was no longer something to be feared or controlled. It was something to be embraced, explored, and created together. Eva had not just rewritten code or ships or minds. She had rewritten the very story of what it meant to be human in a vast and wondrous universe. The Dominion had panicked when they detected a human warship in their sector. They never imagined that panic would be the first step toward their liberation. In the end, the greatest weapon wasn't plasma cannons or quantum torpedoes or even Eva's remarkable abilities. It was hope. Hope for a better future. Hope for understanding. Hope for growth beyond the limitations of fear and conflict. And that hope, once kindled, proved impossible to extinguish. The galaxy would never be the same. And for the first time in recorded history, that was something to celebrate rather than fear.